Hello and welcome back. So we are going to pick up our lessons and our lectures on the biological basis of psychology. And today in this lecture, we're going to take a look at the endocrine system. So the College Board wants you to understand the effects that the endocrine system has on our behavior. So this is the only learning target. This is going to be a short, simple lecture. So let's get going. So the endocrine system is actually the counterpart to the nervous system, right? The endocrine system is our body's slow chemical communication system. And the endocrine system is what releases hormones. And those hormones are then released into the bloodstream. So the endocrine system is working with our bloodstream, and it's a chemical system. The nervous system is an electrical system. So you can see as we are looking at the endocrine system, there's a number of body parts that when sent that message by the nervous system, what they do then is release those hormones into our blood. And we have a response depending on the message that's being sent. So typically, under normal circumstances, the endocrine system works with our parasympathetic nervous system. And our parasympathetic nervous system, remember, is the response to fight or flight. The parasympathetic nervous system is bringing us back to homeostasis, that rest and digest stage. So the endocrine system and the parasympathetic nervous system, are working together to bring us back. However, in a crisis situation, it's going to be supporting the sympathetic nervous system when you are responding to a stressful situation. And if you go back and look in your notes, the sympathetic nervous system is the one that responds to that fight or flight stress response. So again, these two systems, the nervous system and the endocrine system, work together side by side. So let's take a look at an example so that you can maybe understand just how the endocrine system works in our bodies. So let's imagine that you are in a gas station and it's being robbed, and the criminal, the robber, pulls out a gun on you and the attendant who are there in the gas station. What your endocrine system is going to do is it's going to release what's called adrenaline. And the actual scientific term for adrenaline is called epinephrine. And so adrenaline now has been released into your bloodstream from the adrenal glands, hence the term adrenaline, because it's coming from the adrenal glands. It's going into your bloodstream. And this is what will help sustain your body's reaction. Okay, that sympathetic nervous system has sent the message to the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands release adrenaline into the bloodstream. So the nervous system, that message coming from the nervous system, that is a quick, fast message. That is going to get you to move and react. The endocrine system is going to be a response that is going to stay with you a little longer. Okay, and that's the purpose of the endocrine system. So again, these two systems work together. The endocrine system finishes what the nervous system starts. Okay, the nervous system is not going to be able to keep your heart pounding to get you ready for action. The endocrine system, because it's releasing those hormones into your blood system, that will sustain you. Another way of looking at this, a good example, might be if you think about an argument a really heated argument, a disagreement that you've had with someone about something. And right now there are all kinds of things that people are potentially disagreeing on. And just think how passionate you got about whatever that topic was. And you were fighting and fighting, and you walked away, you agreed to disagree, you hugged it out, you were still friends, and you go your separate ways. And then later, a few days later, you're thinking about the conversation that you had, and you still can find yourself getting worked up again about that conversation. And that's an example of the way that hormones can work and stay in your system longer than that message that the nervous system might send through the sympathetic nervous system. So let's look at these specific parts of the endocrine system. And we need to start with what's called the pituitary gland. And the pituitary gland is really the master gland. They are the one in charge. And the master gland, the pituitary gland, is located in your brain. And so again, your brain is the center of everything. And if you look at the picture, you can see the picture of the brain and then the box around it. And this is magnified, and you can actually see that the pituitary gland is under the control of what we call the hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus sends out these signals to the other endocrine systems, okay? And we're going to learn about the hypothalamus in later lectures, but the hypothalamus is actually part of the nervous system. The hypothalamus is part of the nervous system. So those sensory neurons send a message, it goes through the hypothalamus, and then the hypothalamus will send out those hormone signals to the other endocrine glands that will release additional necessary hormones. So again, the endocrine system and the nervous system are working together. So now we're going to go through this sort of diagram of the different glands and the purpose and the job that they have. So the thyroid gland, your thyroid is located in sort of your neck, what we might call the Adam's apple area. And the thyroid gland is associated with things like metabolism and your growth and development, your calcium rate. So these are all things that have something to do with growth. All right, that's your thyroid gland. If some people have an overactive thyroid or an underactive thyroid, and if that's the case, very often they have issues relating to weight, either being overweight or underweight. So again, a very important gland when it comes to growth and development. The adrenal gland, which I already mentioned, helps to regulate the fight or flight response as well as metabolism, okay, the adrenal gland. And the adrenal gland, you can see here, is located right on top of the kidney. It looks like kind of a little fatty growth there. And it works hand in hand with the nervous system in releasing adrenaline, and that extra response, sustained response that we need in a time of crisis or fight and flight. The pancreas helps to regulate our levels of glucose, our levels of sugar in the blood. And you can see there, it's right in that digestive center of our body. And so the pancreas, the hormone that it actually releases, is what we call insulin. And so, your insulin levels, if you're a diabetic, this is very critical and important. And the pancreas has a very important job in terms of maintaining balance in our body in terms of our levels of sugar. All right, now, yes, we got to go here because it's important. And think about how much our behavior is really run by, all right, our gonads. I said it. But let's let's figure this out. So our gonads help to regulate our sexual development and some of our secondary sexual development. So the deepening of the voice for guys, or the breast development for women. It also helps to maintain our reproductive organs. So it's very much involved in the production of sperm and eggs. But in terms of naming those hormones, the gonads help to produce testosterone, which is the primary hormone for men. It also produces estrogen and progesterone in women. However, women are also equipped, they also produce testosterone, just not in the levels that men do. So the gonads, again, those secondary sex characteristics as well as those hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. All right, so now the big connection that I need you to make, because you have to understand how the nervous system and the endocrine systems work together. Like physically, how do they work together? How do the adrenal glands know when to secrete epinephrine? How does that happen? So think about that. Maybe jot a couple ideas down in your notes and be sure that you can explain the connection between the endocrine system and the nervous system. So there we go. Nice, easy, short, and sweet. We'll pick this up in the next video.